Hello guys, this is Relsos. Today I'm to show you an interesting tool. It's called Crimson Horn Folder, and I've been looking for this kind of folder for a long time, whether it's made of bone or horn or even wood. And I've almost tried to buy the Berger Blanchard ones, one with this like multi layers of wood that has shape of like this, but has much thicker and doesn't have this cutouts. But I was really thinking it, but then I found a better interesting tool from Crimsonite, and I really happy that I finally found the place or the tool that I really was looking for a long time. So if you guys don't know, this is the Crimsonite's website. I'll put the link in the description box, and this is the name of it. So Crimson Horn Folder. In US dollar, it's a 2772, and they come in this golden tone, honey mixed with brownish or black color, and you cannot really pick which pattern you want, but they will come in this various of colors and tones. And since this is natural material, you cannot really find something same. So I think it has to be this way. And yeah, it's quite good and interesting tool, and I'll show you how it's different and where you use this tool. Okay, now before I go into details, I would like to just tell you the dimension of this tool. This is just a typical bone folder you can find. These are made of cow shin bone, and this is made of horn, water buffalo horn. So the material itself is different. I will tell you what you have to be careful with this kind of material. So the length is 180 millimeters, so it's at 18 centimeters, and this typical bone folder is 160 millimeters, so that's a 16 centimeter. So it's much shorter, and what you see the difference, much more difference, is the thickness. So this is the typical bone folder, and this is the thickness of this horn folder. And you see there's a big, huge gap between the thickness, and this plays quite a big role when you use this tool. So for example, why I was keep looking for this kind of tool was that I'll just describe this kind of tool is that I needed something that's really soft, polished, so that it doesn't scratch the leather, but also I need some thickness to it, because if you're using the bone folder on your workbench, this bone folder is quite thin, yeah. So if you place it on your leather or your workbench, now there's no place to grab. Okay, there's no pinching here, so you have to use it like this. Okay, I need to cover it, and when it comes to leatherworking, you have to stay away from your hands touching the leather, because as you touch the leather more, it gets more humid, and it loses its crispiness, if you know what I mean. So you have to touch the leather at least as possible, and I don't want to touch my leather while I'm working with my hands. So I need to avoid my moisture or any of the hands on my leather craft. So I was trying to go like different way to do this, and the only way you can do this was trying to find a thick folder, like a slicker or any of the hardwood, and you use it on your leather. Problem with those kind of wood folder is that they have the oil content in those hardwood folders. So when you use it on a bright color leather, it will leave the stains a little bit, yeah. And especially Cocobolo is quite oily wood. It has an orange oil when you touch it, and I really didn't like that. So I was trying to look to a different material also, but then I couldn't find such a shape and this thickness and everything. But this is much better. You can grab it like this. I don't want to scratch my folder, so yeah, I will just use this piece. Yeah, so let's say this is the whole leather, and I can just use it like this. Yeah, I can grab it without touching the leather. I can use it as like this. So the main purpose of this folder is that when you glue your leather, you need to press it down somehow. Yeah? And if you don't have a roller as a cylinder type, this is a good alternative way, and you can press it as you can use it precisely, and especially in an area that you cannot get your roller into. So for example, this is your I don't have any good examples, sorry. Let's say this is the corner of your back. It's a round shape or it's a rectangular shape, and you need to get your somehow pressure inside. Now you cannot get into roller. The roller is too big or too small, and you have to hit the corner like this. If you see, take a look closely, look at this tip. It's bented, and the very tip is also has an angle to it. Now what it does is that this is the leather sample, and let's say you have to glue it like this, okay, at the bottom. Now you can press it like this, okay. So if the whole height looks like this, I can just go alongside this edge like this to press down firmly, so it can be glued much tighter than just trying to put my finger inside. Normal folders, they have a straight tip, yeah, so it's really hard to reach the good area of the tip like this. It doesn't have the good area, so it's just a pointed tip, so it leaves a mark, and it's not that good. You have to apply a firm pressure on this whole edge. So this tip is very useful when you try to apply pressure on like this. So you can use like this whole folder, and you can only tip can touch like this, yeah. And this one has a thick spot also, so if you had to go between the layer also, you can use it like this. And this part is quite interesting, right? So if you are trying to shape the leather into a certain shape, you want to push it down quite a bit, right? So instead of using your finger or wood, if you use wood folder, you will leave the oils from the wood, or you might not give that highly polished sides. Wood has a grain, so even though wood has been well used, it still has quite rough surface, and your finger doesn't work. Now you need to, for example, when you shape it, you need to use this polished sides, so you can shape your leather into your desired shape from your bag. I don't have really good examples with in my hand right now, but I think you get what I mean. Like, you need to rub it down like this to make shape like this. When you make a bag, you need to somehow massage your bag, and then this is a good surface for that purpose. It has a curve in it. It has a highly polished. I think other than the glass, this horn material is the smoothest part in terms of leatherworking tools to polish. And if you have a glass, it's quite brittle, and it's hard to make it thin like this, and you can break it quite easily if you make this with glass. And glass is the polishest material you can get for your leatherworking, but it's hard to shape it like this. So the horn material is a very good material for folders. That's my opinion. Yeah, the one folder is also smooth, but doesn't have the curve in it, or it doesn't have this highly polished feature in the bones. These also have a quite porous grains into the material. So I think in terms of this kind of job, all this friction kind of thing you require, all these things has to be made into like horn. So horn folder is the best for the job. Now, one thing you have to be careful with horn is that these are actually, it was blood, if you don't believe it. Horns are actually the dead cells of the blood. So it hasn't made with keratin proteins. So although it looks hard, this is the protein, but it's a different structure, so it doesn't have the malleable state anymore. But now, anyways, it's a protein. So if you put this in hot water, it will start to smelly, and it will get to soften a little bit. That's why they can shape it into a certain shape, or they want to maybe process it different process. They put in a hot water. So you never put this into a hot water. I think I don't know, it could be there's no way that you come across with the hot water, but just in case you're doing something, I don't know, yeah, craft wall is quite deep and broad. I've never imagined what kind of things people do, and you should avoid hot water. Cold water is okay, room temperature water is also okay, but don't put it in the water too long. What I'm talking is about like hours and hours, yeah. And yeah, hot water, definitely you have to be careful. It will become smelly and it will become malleable. It's not that good thing to put your protein piece into the hot water. Normally it doesn't have any smell. This will not get smelly or soft in with your temperature, in your hands temperature, just only with the hot water. That's the one thing you should be careful about. So as you can see, there's nothing in the world that's perfect. There's always ups and downs, and yeah, that's the only thing you have to be careful. So yeah, that's this Crimson Hide horn folder, and I believe no one sells a horn folder like this. Yeah, this is I think that's quite unique. They're really great people to communicate. They're a really good place to buy. Everything's automated, calculated. You can just press a few buttons and that's it. So I highly recommend this phone folder, and yeah. Alright, so if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye bye.